Wouldn't it be great if you are able to learn NextJS, ReactJS, MongoDB, and a little bit of Material UI using a real-world example? So that's what we're going to do here. We're not going to spend a lot of time building an entire website, but I'm going to build this admin panel on an existing website. By the way, this is delete.com that I have built. You can head over to the link I'm going to add in the description to check out the website, but the admin panel is what we are going to focus on today. So as you can see, the website does not have an admin page. It's a 404 error when I try to load that page. I have the same web page running on my local host port 3000, and I'll make separate videos on how to set all that up, but for now let's just dive into how we're going to build this admin page. Now to start with, I'm going to head over to Visual Studio, and we have files that are responsible to render the pages. So for example, I have login.jsx, so that is what triggers the rendering of the login page, and the sign up file that you see here is responsible to render the sign up page, and so on. So we need the admin page, and so we need an admin.jsx file here. Now for simplicity, I'm just going to make a copy of the index file, which is the home page, rename it to admin.jsx. So now it has hot reload, and when I refresh the admin page, it simply reloads the home page. But that is not what we want. We want to build an admin page. So I'm going to head over to the admin file here, and I have the site name. I'm just going to change this to admin panel here, and let's see what happens when we look at the page. Now it says the name of the site, which is triggered using the environment variable here, which I'll go over another time, and then it loads the name of the page that we just changed here. Now for simplicity, I'm gonna delete a bunch of stuff here. We don't need any of this. We don't need the navigation. So first things first, we need to add a title to the page. So because I'm using Material UI, I have the ability to use typography. So let's import typography from Material UI. Alright, first we can add a heading here. I'm going to use H2 as the variant, and I'm going to call this admin page. Well, that's a good start, but admin page is all the way to the left. By the way, this is us learning Material UI. Let's put a grid here, grid and a container. Let's just settle with that for now. I'm gonna move the typography element inside the container and justify content equal to center inside the container. So that would move the admin page all the way to the center of the page. It's well centered. We need some margins, so I typically use box from Material UI, and I'll show you how it's done. So I'm gonna add a box. My, y is the y coordinates, which is the vertical margins usually, and I can add a 3 here, and let's check what that does. Once again, the box can encompass the entire grid. So there we go. Now the admin page moved down a little bit, so that looks good. H2 seems a little bit bigger than what we need. Let's settle with H3. Alright, now we have a heading here. Our goal is to populate all the users. We can add their basic information like maybe their name, their avatar. Now this is basically the front end because this is what is shown to the user, and behind the scenes we need to do all the data fetching and things that we need to do to build the data to render this admin page. So to do that, we need to go into the APIs directory. Now under pages API, anything that's under API, it's not responsible to render the page itself. It is responsible to collect or update data. So let's create a new folder called admin. Right now there is nothing there because we just created an empty admin folder here. I wanted to make this video quicker and we are not going to go in depth, so I went ahead and created a users.js file under the API admin folder. This will enable us to access in the browser localhost 3000 API admin users. It says not authorized right now because I'm protecting the route using a request.query.secret. So the API can only be accessed if the query passes a secret that matches an environment variable that is stored. So let's comment this out because this is something we can go over later. So I'm commenting out this secret admin users. Now you can see it just lists down the IDs of all the users in our sample data that I have stored in MongoDB. I am projecting only the ID here because I did not want to show all the fields. So adding back all the other fields that I need to populate the admin page, I'm projecting ID, name, profile picture, and a few other fields. I have a filter here, so anything that I'm collecting from the users collection in MongoDB is being filtered using this criteria here, that is last login should be less than or equal to the from date that we are passing in the query. So that is also something we're passing as request.query.from. So the API code is pretty simple here. It is a get request and we are getting all the information from the users collection, projecting the fields that we want. We are sorting the users by last login and we're limiting the query to 1200. So it is pretty simple. We're sending back the users. This users is going to be used to build our admin page. I'm going to add back the request.query.secret. I will show you in the users file. Let's go over the query again. So in the query, we are also passing the secret as process.environment.session_secret. This is what allows the users component to actually get to the API and access the data. So anyone who simply tries to add API admin users is not going to get any data because they also would need this secret key, which is unknown to everybody. I'm going to go over the code inside this component here, but before that I wanted to take a couple of minutes to tell you about MUI, Material UI, which is what I'm using here. I do not know the syntax of most of these components. You can head over to the Material UI website and they have examples of all the code. I usually go to Material UI and at the top here I search for the component that I'm trying to use. For example, button is a very popular component and they have examples of the code that is used, and pretty much I always copy paste from here and I tweak it as needed. So let's go over some of the components I've used here. The user component, it accepts key, the user and visitor is admin, which is what I'm passing here. The key, I'm just passing the user.id to make it unique, and all the users information, which is a result of mapping the entire list of users. I'm passing the user one at a time to the user component, and again if this visitor is admin, I'm gonna pass if the visitor is admin or not. Let's look at the user file. I'm using list item, and list item also comes with list item avatar from Material UI. and the avatar has username, which is basically the alt information like you would see in traditional HTML tag, and I'm passing the image as user's profile picture, and the primary text I'm displaying is username, and the secondary text I'm displaying the user's reputation level and the the user's join date. So let's see it in action. So now if I go to localhost/admin, now it displays the list of users, their reputation, and their join date. So that is displayed using this code right here. List item avatar is responsible to show this. The little dot here, we can use this later to display if they are online or not, or if they have good reputation on our deals website and things like that. But for now it is just to show that it is possible to display a badge. And then the primary text is what renders this title here. The secondary text of the list item is the reputation here and the join date, which I'm displaying here. Now this is being shown as the primary part of the list item. On the right here I'm showing the last login time, and for now I have created this little action menu. This is not functional right now, but in another video we're gonna make this functional, and we're gonna even be able to send them a message. I have the list item secondary action, which is what is responsible to show what's on the right. By the way, all this is what I have copied from the Material UI site. There are examples where they're doing this kind of stuff, and I basically just copied it. I added a grid component and I use flex end so it sticks to the right here. I added a little history icon to show. This history icon is what shows right before the last login time, and this is the action menu that pops up when I click this button here. So basically we have displayed on our admin page a list of users. By the way, I would like to keep this centered a little bit, so I'm going to use another Material UI component here. So let's do it on the admin page here. I'm going to use a container. Let's wrap our users around this container. Alright, so now we got some gap on either side, and when we resize it, it comes out pretty clean. Our load more button is not very pretty because the colors are kind of messed up right now. So let's change the load more button. So remember where the load more button was? It was in users. So admin page is asking for the users component, and our users component was back here, and in the users component we have the load more users button, which is responsible to load the next page, and variant equal to contained probably is not good, so we're gonna change this to outlined, and outlined looks slightly better. So when we click on load more users, it shows the user skeleton here that I had built. It is nothing but it uses the skeleton component of Material UI. I know this was a quick video. We built an admin page. We also used an API. I just wanted to give you a basic understanding of how everything comes together. And in future, we'll be adding more functionalities to delete.com and maybe some other websites as well, so I can help you learn more with NextJS, ReactJS, and MongoDB. Please feel free to check out delete.com. It's a deals website that I have built, and people can post deals, they can comment on deals, they can vote deals, and it has dark mode, light mode, It has a lot of information that you can use to find amazing deals and debate, discuss, and vote on deals. So head over to dlead.com and check out the design, and I would really appreciate your feedback on the website, as well as if you would like to leave some feedback about my video. It will definitely motivate me to create more content like this that may be useful and may motivate you to create amazing websites, or at least get started. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video was useful to you. Cheers.